Okay, I have just got back in from Wales where I was yesterday. That's why this video has been slightly delayed. But it has given me a lot of time to soak in what happened yesterday. And I don't know how long this video is going to take, but I'm just going to outline all of the things I am feeling right now. And I'm going to start by paraphrasing from one of my favourite lines from one of my favourite movies, and that is this. Manchester United Football Club, you have been weighed, you have been measured, and you have been found wanting. In what world did you ever think that this would work? Now, you can feel free to clip that, because I hope that in a few months' time, as within the film, spoilers, that phrase can be turned back on me. And we will be in the new world where it has worked. But right now, I just can't see that happening at all, because this football club is failing at all levels right now. And we'll start with the game, because obviously this is a reaction to the game. So we'll start with the game. And obviously we lost 4-0 to Brentford. All the goals in the first half. And I hate to say it, but I told you so. De Gea, again. And again, and again, and again. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to run the clip. I'm going to run the clip from 2 months ago when I said I would have De Gea going out of the football club this summer. So I'm going to run that clip now. He is a good shot stopper on his right-hand side. And that's it. For me, he doesn't own a left hand. I challenge any of you to find me 3 good saves that he has made this season with his left hand. It's why he makes so many saves with his legs. It's to cover up for the fact that he can't make saves with his left hand. Now, I knew this, so I'm not going to lie. I'm no football analyst. I'm not getting paid thousands of pounds to make decisions on football players. I'm not a manager. I'm just a casual football fan that has 300 subscribers on YouTube. But if I can see this, and what else I'll do is this is a reply to a certain Mark Goldbridge that I put on Twitter the other day after the Brighton game when he was talking about De Gea's distribution. So here's another thing that I have noticed that seemingly others hadn't that came up in the game. If I can see these things, every single Premier League player, Premier League manager, football analysts at the football clubs can see these issues with David De Gea and recognise that this is a massive way of dealing with Manchester United. If you can put pressure on De Gea, if you can exploit his weaknesses, we lose. End of. The 3 goals yesterday. Another save on his left-hand side. Another piece of poor distribution. And another goal from a set piece in the 6-yard box. This time 2 headers. He doesn't get to the header at the back post, nor does he get to the header that gets ended up in the back of the net. It just... I am done with David De Gea. I am absolutely done with him. I was fed up with him 3 years ago. I am now absolutely sick to death of him. We have potentially ruined the career of Dean Henderson by not giving him a chance. I said over the summer we should have got rid of both and signed Nick Pope. And I said last summer that we should have got rid of both and got Donnarumma when he was available on a free. And he was willing to go to Manchester United. But instead, we are now stuck with David De Gea, who is still the highest paid goalkeeper in world football. And he's probably not even top 5 Premier League. So deal with that as you were. That's just one player. And it was just one game. And I know a lot of people have come out and said they're happy he took responsibility for the game yesterday, coming out saying that he cost us the 3 points. Well, in my opinion, firstly, that's 6 points you've cost us already, David, because you were at fault for both goals against Brighton as well. And secondly, it's all well and good taking responsibility after the game, but I've watched you for 12 years, and I've never seen you take responsibility once when it matters on the pitch. You still don't command the defence, you still don't command the 6-yard box, and you're still vulnerable on your left-hand side. No responsibility whatsoever. That's enough about De Gea. Let's talk about everyone else. Defence, again, too slow, too easy to exploit in behind. Martinez isn't quick enough to play centre-back in the Premier League. Certainly not to cover Maguire, who we know is slow. And for whatever reason, Luke Shaw looks as slow as ever. Like, the slowest I've ever seen Luke Shaw. He got burnt by Mbermo on that 4th goal. And if Malassi was playing, I don't think that would have happened. So, for me, it's a full reset in defence. It'll be interesting to see what Ten Hag does in regards to that. I would personally have Heaton in goal for Liverpool and have a back line of Wan-Bissaka, Bailly, Varane and Malacia for Liverpool. Complete reset, whole new defence. Players that are certainly, I would say, better on the tackling side than the ones we've currently got. And I would just give De Gea a break after that game. I think he needs one if he is going to maintain his position as Manchester United's permanent goalkeeper. As for the rest of the team, creatively they still weren't good enough. Now, obviously, you can pin that on the poor distribution from De Gea and from the defence. But again, when we got the ball in midfield, Fred did nothing. McTominay did nothing when he came on. Bruno spent too long moaning again. Eriksen had his moments. Rashford and Sancho out wide offered next to nothing once again. And Ronaldo was just sort of stood there saying help. He was dropping in but wasn't really doing a lot either. He gave away the ball for 3 of the 4 goals. So there's blame to be thrown at him as well. There's not a single player who can stand at the end of that game and say, I had a good game. Everyone was appalling. Ten Hag has obviously brought them back in for an extra training session today. I'm hoping it's to basically iron out everything that happened yesterday and essentially tell the players who's playing against Liverpool and how we're going to play against Liverpool, because we've got a massive job on our hands. We've just lost 4-0 to Brentford. We're currently bottom of the Premier League. If Liverpool don't beat Crystal Palace by 3 or more goals on Monday night, we will be rock bottom of the Premier League for the first time ever at the end of a Premier League game week, which, quite frankly, is an embarrassing sight for the club that has spent the most money in the last 10 years. It's just absolutely unforgivable. On to Ten Hag himself, he does need to take some blame for this as well. I'm not going to be all this, we've made the wrong decision on Ten Hag. I back Ten Hag completely. We'll get to how the owners and the board have backed Ten Hag in the transfer market in a bit. But he had other options. All those players I've said that should now play against Liverpool, certainly in the back line, in particular Varane and Malacia, should have started against Brentford after how poor Martinez and Shaw were against Brighton. In my opinion, Martinez is not a centre-back in the Premier League. I know people have spoken about how, including myself, how you can have good defenders at high level, the height of 5'9", the likes of Cannavaro, Carlos Puyol, etc. But it's clearly not worked. We've played 2 games. He's been bullied by Danny Welbeck and he's been bullied by Ivan Toney, both physically and pace-wise. So he's not cut out to be a centre-back in the Premier League. However, I have seen him play in holding midfield and I know he can do a job there. He's certainly a better ball player in terms of passing and dribbling than Fred and McTominay. So for me, it makes absolute sense to be playing Martinez in midfield instead of Fred and McTominay, and then you can work on the rest of it from there. But for me, Ten Hag does have to take some blame for that, for essentially picking the same team and just taking out McTominay for Ronaldo. How you can only make one change after losing at home to Brighton does baffle me. So minor gribble with Ten Hag on that one. Right, that's the game itself, but I am going to go into the rest of the issues that I think we have, because there is a massive job ahead. And that does start with the Glaziers. And Gary Neville spoke about it last night, about lack of investment. Yes, Manchester United have spent the most money of any team in the last 10 years, but all of that money has come from Manchester United's commercial and on-field assets. Starting off with the successes of Alex Ferguson from when they took over in 2005 until he retired in 2013. And then from there, all of the, like I said, it's commercial stuff. Pogba shirt sales, Ibrahimovic, Ronaldo, using the club's actual status in world football to generate money that's then been used on the club. The Glaziers have riled up nearly £3 billion in money taken out of Manchester United through dividends and the debt that they have generated to the club. Before they came in, Manchester United were debt free. They're now £3 billion down since the Glaziers took over. The stadium is falling apart. Our training facilities are behind the times. And they don't care. As long as Manchester United keeps generating the money they want, they don't care. And I know people have asked for the Glaziers to come out and say this, that and the other, but they won't. They are getting what they want out of Manchester United. And that will happen until it no longer can. But that's probably still another 3 or 4 years away. Maybe if we get relegated this year, it may be a bit closer. But then they will sell the club, but it will already be far too late. So how the Glaziers turn that round, I don't know. There are obviously talks of a hostile takeover, which, I'll be honest, the history around the guy looking to do it isn't particularly great either. So I don't really know about that. As for the people they've appointed, the new regime under John Murtagh has come in, and as promising as it looked, it's been the same old, same old. Ten Hag had a list of players that he wanted to bring in. Julian Timber, Frankie de Jong, Anthony. None of those players have arrived. We've signed his backup option from Ajax at centre-back. I think we did get his first choice left-back option, so I'm glad we've got him. And Christian Eriksen was a free signing. Not enough. It's just not enough. Ralf Rangnick got sacked for saying that this squad of players is not good enough. They all need to get out and 10 new players need to come in. All we've got rid of is the players that had to leave on a free. And we've signed 3 players that so far haven't done enough. So the transfers have been horrific. We're now scrambling around. We went for Arnautovic last week. We're struggling to get Rabiot over the line. It's honestly pathetic. And I honestly don't know where we go in terms of transfers. Who would want to go to Man United? The only players we're going to get are players that want to take stupid wages that we can give them. And then we're just stuck with more mercenaries. The ability to get a player out of a club that fits the profile of player that we need, at the quality that we need them to be, without either paying stupid transfer fee, or stupid wages, it's just not possible. So we've backed ourselves into a corner. We're stuck with yet another season of the same players that Rangnick told the club to get rid of, and they haven't. However, there is one thing that I was reminded of yesterday. When I was in Wales watching that game, I was one of 16 people watching it, and I was the only Manchester United fan there, so you can imagine the amount of abuse I received from those people. But one of them reminded me that actually the fans have something to blame as well. And I've sat here for the last 10-15 minutes or so ranting about De Gea and Maguire and Martinez and McFred and Bruno and Rashford and Sancho. I'm not hurling massive abuse at them, but I'm basically saying that their performances aren't good enough, and I'm putting it out there on social media because I know people will see this. And that puts a massive amount of pressure on these players, and they've had to put up with it for the last 12 to 18 months now, and I imagine every time they step out on that football pitch, they're terrified. And yes, you do have to have some character, but right now it becomes too toxic too quickly. And I don't think enough people from the punditry side have said that. They've mentioned the toxic atmosphere around Old Trafford, but not to the extent of how it can affect the players. I mean, they put up on Sky a few weeks ago how 7 of the top 8 most abused players online in the Premier League were Manchester United players. So there is a massive pressure on every single one of these players every time they step out into the football pitch. And that's another reason why I wouldn't play them against Liverpool. De Gea, Maguire, Shaw, Fred, McTominay, Bruno, Rashford. I'd probably say all 7 of them shouldn't start against Liverpool for the sole reason of they need to be protected from the fans. Because if they all go out there again and Liverpool go 1-0 up in the first 5 minutes, the whole stadium will turn on them. Yes, the chanting will be about the Glaziers, but they were singing "You're not fit to wear the shirt" against Brentford. There's no way that the anti-Glazier lasts the whole game. And in my opinion, these players do need some protecting. So, for their own good and for the good of the club, I wouldn't be playing any of these players against Liverpool next week. I'd be playing the hungry players. I'd be playing the youngsters. The likes of Savage and Iqbal that put in a fantastic performance against Liverpool's first team in pre-season. I'd be playing Garnacho. He looked fantastic in the last game of pre-season. Was only on the pitch for a couple of minutes against Brighton, but still looked dangerous. We need some of that identity back, because I believe some of these players do it, and I do. The whole point of Manchester United is you never say die, you fight for the badge, and sometimes we just run out of time. But this squad ran out of time 12 months ago. But I do see some fight in them, but the last few games of last season, and certainly in the first 2 games of this season, I think they've had enough, and they're giving up, which is unacceptable, but I understand why. So that's my little mini rant about the fans. I would like to see everyone at Old Trafford being as much behind the team as possible against Liverpool. Because even the most die-hard, biased Manchester United fan could not honestly go into that Liverpool game next week saying, oh yeah, we'll beat them. I still think we could, but we're not going to. Realistically, we're not going to. And it's going to be another bad game for Manchester United. But if you give the hungry players a chance, it'll at least get the fans behind them. And then whatever happens, at least you can say, oh, well, we gave the youngsters the experience. We've given them the opportunity. And it's taken some of the spotlight away from the players permanently in the headlines. But then we have the final problem, which is some of these players that have given up and probably should be on the way out, because we do need this big reset. Again, Ranić mentioned the 10 players out, 10 players in. Because of how badly we've done our business over the last 5 or 6 years, the reset button is blocked. Because no one wants our players. They're on absolutely astronomical wages. I've spoken already about how De Gea is still the most paid goalkeeper in the world. Sancho's on over 300,000 a week. They're on about giving Rashford more than 300,000 a week. Bruno's just had a massive new deal come in, literally days before the new manager was appointed, whose system doesn't suit where Bruno plays. So why was he given such a big contract so soon before a manager change? Maguire's on stupid money. But then you got all the players that we're trying to get rid of. Brandon Williams is on 80,000 a week. He's not played for Manchester United for 2 years. He's on 80,000 a week. No one wants him. Phil Jones, stupid wages. Eric Bailly, as much as I love Eric Bailly and I think he should play this week against Liverpool, we've been trying to get rid of him over the summer. No one wants him. Wages are too high. Wan-Bissaka, transfer fee and wages too high. We cannot do the reset because we've overspent on the transfer market and on the players' contracts on every single player in our squad. So we're just going to have to spend another 3 or 4 years waiting for all these players to run down their Manchester United contracts and leave for free. 7 of them went this summer. We still probably need to get rid of another 7 or 8. But we're not going to get them gone. Oh, like, Telles is another one. Telles has gone to Sevilla and we're paying his wages. We're essentially paying Sevilla to have our left back because we can't get rid of him by any other means. It's an absolute joke how this football club is being run right now. And it's only going to get worse before it gets better. A lot of people saying it can't get any worse. We're playing Liverpool next week. Like, you think losing 4-0 to Brentford is bad. If they turn up and we play like that, scoreline could be anything. So, yeah, massive, massive problems to deal with. I'm hoping that they've had some sort of structure outlined for them today by Ten Hag. I know the reports are just that it's an extra training session, but I hope it is a little bit more than that. I hope it's some sort of perspective in terms of the expectations of the football club, the expectations from him as the manager, how we're going to look to progress going forward, and developing a plan of how we survive next Monday night. Because right now, honestly, I could be sitting here in 8 days' time and it could be even worse. I think that's about everything. So, as always, please like the video, share it with a friend. I'm interested to see what other people think to this. Please let me know down in the comments what you think about everything that is going on, what you would do. Is it right for me to question everything? I don't know. I'm just trying to do what I can. But thank you very much for watching. I will be back again very, very soon.